Okay, so in this section, we're going to take a little bit of a detour from what we've been doing with the solving polynomials. We're going to come back to that in the next section, but in order to look at some of the more complicated ones, there's a little bit of different stuff that we need to make sure that we know. So what we're going to talk about today is how to go about dividing polynomials. And we're going to probably look at one of your favorite things from when you were in elementary school, long division. So I want us to just make sure that we can think back to when we were kids and went through the long division process, because I know most of you now are little calculator addicts and don't do the by hand so much anymore, which is cool on this, but we do need the process in our head because we're going to use a lot of the same process here. Okay, so here's what we're going to do just as a reminder. We're going to say, well, 4 will go into 10 2 times, and then we'll multiply here and subtract. Bring down the next number and follow that same pattern again. So 4 goes into 21 5 times, multiply them together, and subtract. Bring the next number down. 4 goes into 12 3 times. Now, I don't have anything left to come down, which means I'm done. My remainder is 0, so 253. Okay, let's do one more just so we have the center. Well, we'll be okay. Let's go on for time's sake. So we're going to look at 3 long division problems, so hang with me. Okay, so what you want to do is really focus on your x. So you're going to follow the same pattern we did a minute ago. So you're going to think slightly differently than a minute ago. What do I need to multiply x by to get 6x to the third? And I would say it would be 6x squared. Now don't worry about the 2. We're going to deal with it in a second. Okay, and then distribute that out. That's how we'll multiply, is by distributing. So I'll have 6x to the third minus 12x squared. Now your goal is to match those 2 numbers up. The reason you want to match those 2 numbers up is so that when you subtract, and I need to subtract the whole thing, which means distribute out a negative, those will cancel. And then subtract and bring the next number down. Alright, same process again. We're going to do the same process until we're done. So what do I need to multiply x by to get negative 7x squared? I need the negative 7 and I need 1x. I've got the other one here. And then I'm going to distribute that out. And I'm just distributing out the negative 7x. So I'll have negative 7x squared plus 14x. And subtract. Bring the next number down. Okay, what do I need to multiply x by to get 2x? And distribute that out. Subtract. Now this is good that these both cancel, because that means my remainder is 0. So when I divide x minus 2 into all of that stuff, I get 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. Now here's the other thing that it means. It means that if I multiply these 2 things together, it would give me this right here. Now maybe not important when I'm just asking you to divide, but we are going to use that idea a little bit later on. Okay, let's look at a couple more. Okay, so I wrote this one in a little bit different format, so I'm going to just rewrite it to do long division. Now, I'm going to make a suggestion to you. Mathematically, you don't have to do this, but for your own sanity, I would recommend it. If it skips an exponent, like here it skips x to the third, if it were me, I would go ahead and put in a placeholder for it. So I put 0x to the third because I don't have any. It will save you a lot of grief if you do that. Now for me, I use placeholders for everything. Even here where it doesn't have a constant, I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Now, same thing, mathematically you don't have to, but everything will line up a lot nicer if you do. So you will be glad if you do. Okay, then let's go through our process. So I'm going to focus on that x. So what do I need to multiply x by to get 4x to the 4th? So I've got one of the x's, so I need to multiply it by 4x to the 3rd and distribute that out. So I'll have 4x to the 4th minus 16x to the 3rd. And subtract. So 16x to the 3rd and bring the next one down. Okay, same process over and over again. What do I need to multiply x by to get 16x to the 3rd? And distribute that out. Minus 64x squared. Or and subtract. So I'll end up with 60x squared. Now I want you all to notice how the numbers are getting really big really quickly. This is strictly just something I feel like I see. A lot of times those numbers will get really big or they'll stay small. Usually there's not so much in between, so you're going to see some big numbers here. Okay, pattern again. So what do I need to multiply x by to get 60x squared? I need the 60 in one of the x's. So I have 60x squared minus 240x. And subtract. And remember, you got to distribute out the negative, so it goes to both of those. So I'll have 246x plus 0. Alright, last round, because I just brought down my last thing. So what do I need to multiply x by to get 246x? And I'll distribute it out. So 246x minus 584. And if you need to put that in your calculator on the bigger ones, that's fine. If I put something on a no calculator part of a test, it would be something that should be small enough that you can do without a calculator. So 584. Okay, now this is my remainder, the 584. I want to make sure that you know how to write this, because I don't want you to do like remainder 584. Here's how I want you to write it. Plus 584 over what you're dividing by. Okay, here's our last one of these, and then we're going to look at another kind of division that you'll like a lot more. Now, this one looks pretty awful here. Most people groan the second they see this problem, but it's actually a little bit easier than the other two. You'll see why here in a second. So let me go ahead and write out my problem. Now, as I'm writing it out, I'm going to look for any placeholders that I need to put in there. So 2x to the 4th. Okay, no placeholder there. Not here. Okay, so I don't think we actually have placeholders in this one, so that's good. And then I'm going to follow the same process I've done over and over again. I'm going to start with my x squared, and I'm going to focus on that. So what do I need to multiply by x squared to get 2x to the 4th? I need a 2, and I need 2 of the x's because I've got the other 2. And then I'll distribute that out. Now this time I've got 3 places to distribute it to. So I'll have 2x to the 4th plus 4x to the 3rd minus 6x squared. And subtract, so I've got to distribute out my negative. Now this is nice for me because this one cancels and this one cancels. So I've got x squared. I'm going to bring down my 3x. And I actually think I should bring down my negative 2 as well, because I do need 3 terms here. So this is my last cycle. I brought everything down. So see how this is shorter because you've got more things dividing in there? Alright, so same thing. What do I need to multiply x squared by to get x squared? 1. And I'll distribute that out. So x squared plus 2x minus 3. And subtract. So I have x plus 1. And I'm going to write that as my remainder. So x plus 1 over the stuff I'm dividing by. Okay, now long division, we had to make sure that we know how to do long division with these polynomials, because sometimes you just don't have another option in some of the places that we're going. However, there is another kind of division. It's called synthetic division. Synthetic division, though, only works when you're dividing by something that's linear. So this is an x to the first. So this right here, you're dividing by something that's quadratic. You cannot use synthetic division here. You have to use long division. That's the reason you need long division. Synthetic division is quicker. So here's what you're going to do with synthetic division. I'm going to put a little box right here, kind of half of a box. And in the box, I'm going to put the 0 for what I'm dividing by. So set it equal to 0 and solve. So x equals negative 3. That's what I'm going to put in my box. Now across here in a line, I'm going to put my coefficients. So I have 1 x to the 4th, so I don't have to put the x to the 4th, just the 1. The next column needs to be my x to the 3rds. Now notice I don't have any. I have to put a placeholder there. Now I told y'all on long division, you don't have to mathematically, but it'll make your life a lot easier. Synthetic division, you have to have the placeholder. If you don't have the placeholder, you'll get the wrong answer. No way around it. You have to have that placeholder. I'll pretty much guarantee you I will put one where you have to have a placeholder on your test. I want to know that you're looking for it. So expect it. You're going to see it. Okay, so I'm going to put my coefficients across here, leave a little space, because I got to write some stuff there, and then put a line. Okay, now here's your process with synthetic division. You're going to bring your first number down, and then multiply the number in the box times that number. So negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. It'll go in the next space, and then add down. And then you're going to keep doing that pattern until you run out of space. So 9, add down. 3, add down. Negative 3, add down. Okay, when you go through and you write out your answer, this last number here that I kind of put this little box around, this is your remainder. And then this is your constant, x to the first, x to the second, x to the third. It's always going to end up being 1 less than the biggest exponent that you started with. So this is my x to the third, so I have 1x to the third minus 3x squared minus 1x plus 1, and this is my remainder. So I'm going to write it as a fraction. Synthetic division, didn't I tell you that you were going to like it? Okay, let's do one more and then we'll be done for this section. Alright, so here's my problem. This is a division sign, not a plus sign. How looks like a plus sign. So in my box, I'm going to put 2. I'm going to set that equal to 0 and solve. Across here, I'm going to put my coefficients. So 6x to the 5th, I need x to the 4th next, to the 3rd, to the second, to the first, and the constant. Alright, then follow my pattern we did before. Bring the first number down, multiply, add down. Multiply, add down. You get the idea. Multiply, add down. Multiply. Now y'all see how the numbers are getting pretty big here? Remember how I told you on the long division? I feel like the numbers either get, this is a 96 instead of 93. The numbers either start to get really big or they seem to kind of stay small. So this one they're getting kind of big. And 2 times 93 is 192. So 193 when I add down. Okay, now remember, your biggest one here is going to be one smaller than that. So I'm going to start with x to the 4th. Third, second, first, constant, and the remainder. So 193 over what I was dividing by. Now, synthetic division will save you a lot of time. Long division, you do have to know because you may need to use it if you're not dividing by something that's linear. But synthetic division will save you time if you can use it.